Hey guys, it's Vicky, and today I'm here to share with you my Spookathon wrap-up. Spookathon went pretty good for me. Okay, I only read 2 books during the week, but I managed to complete 4 challenges with those 2 books, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first book that I completed for Spookathon was The Marsh King's Daughter by Karen Dion, and this fulfilled the challenge to read a thriller. I was super excited about this book because it takes place in my home state, in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, or the UP as we call it here. And it's about a young girl named Helena who, until she's 12 years old, she lives in the marshlands with of the Upper Peninsula with her mom and dad. And they have a very survivalist type of lifestyle. They don't have running water, they don't have electricity, they hunt and fish and gather their own food, and it's just the 3 of them. And then when she's 12, she finds out that her father had actually abducted her mother when her mother was 14 years old, and that she, Helena, is a product of that abduction. And so her mother and her leave the marsh, and her father goes to prison. And so in present day, so like I think it's about 15 years later, her father escapes from prison and is on the run in the marshlands, and she decides to go out and try to find him because of the way that she was raised. She knows that she's probably the only one who could find him, because he taught her everything he knows. And so it's a really interesting book because you are in the present day and she's trying to track down her father, and then through flashbacks you're learning about her upbringing. And another interesting thing that I didn't realize before I started reading the book is that The Marsh King's Daughter is actually the title of a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, and that is incorporated into the story. So if you are someone that likes fairy tale, kind of where fairy tales are kind of twisted and turned into modern day stories, I think you would like this because this definitely does that. I, of course, really enjoyed this book because I loved the local flair. I was kind of hoping when I started the book that my dad's hometown would be mentioned or something like that, and it was in the first chapter. She mentions this little gift shop / museum, and that place is actually in my dad's hometown, and my dad actually is really good friends with the owner. So I thought that was really cool that she was like talking about places that I knew about, and I just loved that kind of local touch that it had, because let's face it, there aren't a ton of books that take place in Michigan, so I thought that this was a really cool local read. I thought that as a thriller it was pretty good, because you do there isn't really any twist or anything to kind of find out other than, you want to know right at the beginning, like, okay, how did they get out of the marsh, because they're there at the, and so through the flashbacks you learn how they came to leave the marsh, and kind of what happened to them in the aftermath. So I thought that it was good. It was action-packed. It also explored a lot of those interesting kind of familial relationships where, for Helena especially, she loves her father, she respects her father, he taught her a lot, but on the other side of that, she knows that he is this horrible person and did terrible things, not only to her mother, I should say, but to other people. And so she has this kind of back and forth in her mind about him. And then she also has this strange kind of detachment and almost resentment for her mother, because her mother was so disengaged as she was growing up, and it was because obviously the situation she was in, that she was living with this captor and that she birthed this child who is a result of this terrible violence that she's living, that, but Helena was not aware of that. So, she grew up kind of feeling disdain for her mother, and not understanding why her mother was that way. And so it was interesting, I thought that it was a good book, really, and I would totally recommend it to anybody out there that likes thrillers, especially ones dealing with kind of family stuff. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. The last book that I completed for Spookathon was Wraith by Joe Hill and Charles Paul Wilson III, and this fulfilled 3 challenges. When I started when I chose this book for the readathon, I thought it only would fulfill 2, but as I got reading, I discovered it fulfills 3. So obviously it fulfills the challenge to read a picture book. It is a graphic novel. It also fulfills to read a book with a spooky word in the title, because Wraith is pretty spooky. And then the third one that I didn't realize it fulfills is to read a book that takes place in a time period other than your own, because for part of the story you are in the early 1900s, and then for the kind of main story you're in the 1980s. This book is a tie-in to Nosferatu by Joe Hill, which is one of my favorite horror novels ever. I absolutely love that book, and so I'm super excited to pick this one up. This deals with Charlie Manx, who is the villain of Nosferatu. In this book you learn about him, a little more about him and his kind of background. And in Nosferatu, he's a vampire of sorts, but he doesn't drink blood. I don't want to say what it is he does drink or take or whatever, but he kidnaps children and takes them to this place called Christmas Land. And once they get to Christmas Land, things get crazy. And let me tell you, Christmas Land is not a pleasant place. It is not. And so this book deals with, you learn how Christmas Land came to be, and you also get this whole other story that takes place just in Christmas Land. So loved that, because that was one of my favorite parts about Nosferatu. So yeah, I thought the story in this was great. I thought I had that great blend that Joe Hill does of horror and also heart, and I also loved the art style. Let me see if I can show you a picture really quick. The drawing in here was just beautiful. I just thought it was beautifully done. I really loved it. So this is kind of what, I don't know if it's going to focus, what Christmas Land kind of looks like. It's creepy. It's a creepy place. It's not a happy place. So yeah, I mean, overall, I would say read Nosferatu definitely before you pick this up, because this will kind of spoil some things for you, I think. But it's a great like supplemental book. So read Nosferatu, then read this immediately because it's great. I loved this and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Alright guys, so those are the 2 books that I completed for Spookathon 2018. Please let me know down below what you guys read for Spookathon. If you did the readathon, let me know how you did, what challenges you completed, which ones you didn't, what was your favorite book you read in the week. Like, I want to know it all. But other than that, that's all I have. So I hope you guys are having a great week, and I will talk to you very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.